This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. Today I have the pleasure of being on the beat with old friend, author Marla McKenna. How are you, Marla?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. It's so good to see you. I think the last time I saw you was in Milwaukee, your home area. You were sitting next to Hall of Fame pitcher, and I'll name drop Fergie Jenkins.
Yeah,
But we'll get to Fergie and how he plays
yeah.
into your story in a little bit. Let's start at the beginning. You're an author, as I said. What was your first book? How did you get started with that?
So Mom's Big Catch was the first book that I wrote. It's a children's book inspired by something that happened at a Milwaukee Brewer game with Jeff Jenkins. And honestly, I wrote it and I tried to get it published for several years and I didn't have any luck. And finally, it just happened one day and I found the right publisher and illustrator, and Mom's Big Catch became a children's book. And honestly, it has changed my life, changed my career, and it's just been awesome.
Now, without giving away the whole story, we don't want to have spoilers here. Could you give us a little bit of the story, what it's about?
So Mom's Big Catch is a family fun day at the ballpark at Miller Park. And it's my daughters, Julie and Ashley, are in it. Now they are 20 and 22. So this was written quite a while ago when they were little. And my dog that I had at the time, Sadie. And it's just a fun day at the ballpark where Ashley, it's told from my daughter Ashley's perspective, who was 7 at the time. And just her excitement of wanting to go to a Milwaukee Brewer game, which happened to be the game we went to, but to go to a baseball game, and the excitement and the smells and the taste of the ballpark, and just she really wanted to catch a ball, and that was the whole theme of the story. And that's what makes the story unique. It's the fun, unexpected, unique way a ball is caught. And I'm not going to give that away, but yeah.
No, people got to buy the book to get that.
It's definitely not something you would expect, and that's what makes the story fun and unique, and it's just exciting.
Now, were you always a baseball fan?
Oh yeah, I have always been a baseball fan. Obviously, I'm from Wisconsin, so I grew up a Milwaukee Brewer fan. But right now, because I have the opportunity with Mom's Big Catch to work with all kinds of baseball teams, I am a baseball fan. Like we suggested Fergie Jenkins and the Cubs, but yeah, I am a big baseball fan.
Well, before we continue, I have to say congratulations. Your Brewers are kicking butt.
I know, right?
Yeah. And as a Cubs fan, I don't care about the White Sox. As a Cubs fan, it hurts. But I'm also a Brewers fan. I do love the Brewers. I like going up there. How about your daughters? Are they still baseball fans?
Yeah, not as much as they used to be. They're more into music now. But of course, they still like baseball too. Yeah.
So before you wrote the book, when you first started to think about this, how did you? We all think we're a musician. I could be a writer. I could do this, but going from that to actually doing it, what were the process? How did you get to? Yeah, I'm actually going to do this.
Well, I always thought about writing a book when my daughters were first born. But I wasn't exactly sure how to do it. And a lot of people even today are like, how do you write a book? How do you get it published? And I do have a degree from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a journalism degree. So I'm a writer, like you, and, I've always worked in marketing and advertising and graphic design. So I love to write. I love to be creative. And I thought it'd be fun to write a book, but I needed an idea. And then literally, Mom's Big Catch was dropped in my lap. This was in 2007. Mom's Big Catch came out in 2011. So it's 10 years old, just celebrated 10 years old, but it's still brand new. That's the nice thing about Mom's Big Catch. It's evergreen. It'll always be brand new to the people who haven't read it and to baseball teams, because Mom's Big Catch can be customized to fit any baseball team, which has been pretty awesome.
No, that's got to be really cool, because you could make it into any team, high school, college, pro. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That was a fantastic idea you had, because you just completely broadened your appeal. The book itself is great. Now you've increased it with all the fan bases, but you didn't stop with Mama's Big Catch. You kept going. So what was the next one?
Well, so like I said, Mom's Big Catch, I want to share with you how, unless we can talk about that later, but Fergie Jenkins. So Mom's Big Catch was inspired by something that happened at a Milwaukee Brewer game. And it did take me almost 5 years to finally team up with the Milwaukee Brewers. So we officially teamed up together for Brewers on Deck. several years ago, and we did a book drive. So if the fans brought in a newer gently used children's book, then they got the Miller Park version of Mom's Big Catch. At the time, we weren't able to put the logo on for Milwaukee, but it was still really cool because the book resembled everything, Milwaukee Brewers. So that was awesome. And then I had hired a publicist, and he knew Fergie Jenkins, and he said, why don't you just call Fergie Jenkins and go sit out at spring training with him? And I thought, yeah, okay, I'll just call Fergie Jenkins, Hall of Fame baseball player. But I did. And Fergie's like, come on out. So after working with Fergie for several years, we finally put the Chicago Cubs logo on the book because it has Fergie's foundation logo on, and some of the money goes back to the Fergie Jenkins Foundation. So that has been a dream come true too, because obviously I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm a Brewer fan, but I have to be so grateful to Fergie and the Cubs. So I love that opportunity, and Fergie's the best. So
well, we embrace Milwaukeeans. It's there's a little rivalry, but we love you down here.
But to answer your question then, so Sadie's Big Steal, then that was the next book. And that's actually the second book in the Mom's Big Catch series. And Sadie was my dog. And because part of the proceeds from all my books benefit the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation. That's Linda Blair. She saves and rescues dogs now. And then Rick Springfield, musician, actor, rock star, author, he matches my donations. So that's pretty fun and exciting too.
Now, how did that, I love Linda Blair. Been a Rick Springfield fan way back in the 70s. Like, he had a weird kind of cool TV show back then. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yes, he did. Yep.
And then, of course, he went on to General Hospital. All my nieces and stuff love him from that. But anyway, how did you get hooked up with Linda Blair and Rick Springfield and Danny Goki?
Well, Rick is, a brilliant musician and writer, and he has a huge fan base, and he is friends with Linda Blair. So if you are a Rick Springfield fan, you are going to know that. And I'm a huge dog lover. So, I love being able to share my message and read and go to schools and share my message with kids and the children, but I'm also a huge dog lover. So I just wanted to do something good. As I share with the kids when I do author visits, if something good happens to you, you should do something good for someone else. So that's why I decided to do that. So honestly, I just asked Rick. His book was coming out around the same time, his autobiography, Late at Night. And I just asked him, would you match my donations? And he's like, absolutely, without hesitation. And I had spoken with his wife, Barbara, and she was totally agreeable and loved it too. So she helped with the process. So I just wanted to give back.
Did you ever sit back and go, gee, I just called Fergie Jenkins, I called Rick Springfield, I called it, like, did you ever sit back and go, like, how is this happening?
Sometimes I have to pinch myself because, the Rick Springfield thing, I've talked about it more in my most recent book that I wrote for adults that I co-authored called Manifesting Your Dreams. And Rick was a huge part of that book because, he was the one who had a lot of real estate on my walls when I was a teenager, a lot of posters. And I was just always a Rick Springfield fan. And so being able to meet him and have him support my work and have a conversation with him, many conversations, and me being so grateful and him just saying, well, you're a writer, and hearing that from Rick Springfield's pretty awesome. Yeah, I got pretty emotional when he said that. And I've met so many wonderful friends through his community. And so that's even the bigger picture of the friendships that we formed. And yeah, sitting next to Fergie Jenkins, and I admit, I was not a Cubs fan. So, I knew of Fergie, but I didn't understand how big Fergie Jenkins really is. It's like Paul Molitor for me as a brewer. And that dream came true too, when I've met Paul Molitor a few times, and I gave him Mom's Big Catch. That was after I'd worked with the Brewers. So he was very cool about that. And then when he was working with the Twins, he even gave the Twins Mom's Big Catch, and I tried to connect with that team. Nothing happened yet, but so now when I see him, it's kind of nice that I remind him who I am and I show him the book, but he remembers me. And that's just like, I have to pinch myself too. So
I was going to say, because I saw on your social media, you're rubbing shoulders with Jeff Jenkins, you're rubbing shoulders with Paul Mott. I'm so jealous.
So yeah.
Have you met Robin Yount yet?
Yes. So
you're killing me.
So it was Legends Weekend with the Kenosha Kingfish. And they had, big brewer names there. They had obviously Paul Molitor, Jeff Jenkins, Raleigh Fingers, Bill Hall, Jeff Cirillo. And Jeff Jenkins inspired Mom's Big Catch. And I have been trying to connect with Jeff Jenkins for the last 10 years. And either when he was in town for an event, I couldn't be there because I had a prior commitment. I had, written him, I had sent him a book. A fellow baseball player had given him a book for me. I know the Brewers sent it, but I never heard back. And I thought, well, he gets bombarded. He's got so many fans. So when I saw him on Saturday, I literally went up to him and I was like, Jeff Jenkins, you have no idea how long I've been trying to get a hold of you. And I showed him the book and he's like, I know that book.
That's funny.
So I said, I'm Marla McKenna. I wrote it. And he was just absolutely wonderful. He was so kind and gracious. And I told him, I said, this book, it just, you inspired it. And ultimately it changed my life. And he's like, that's pretty special. So it was just awesome. And that's when I saw Paul Molitor and the others too. And Raleigh Fingers, he's out at spring training with Fergie. So I know Raleigh and have spoken with him many times too. So, and Robin tried to help me too with teams. So it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Now you don't just do baseball. I know you delved into the soccer field. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I know it's a soccer summer dream, and you're dealing with a Milwaukee pro soccer team.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool too. I was on a local TV show, and so was the owner of the Milwaukee Torrent, Andy Davi, and we got to talking, and he just said, I want you to write a book for us. So we got together and we wrote a book, and we worked on the illustrations together. And, the Milwaukee Torrent is Milwaukee's professional outdoor soccer team, and they have a men's and women's team. So that was a really great experience too. So yeah, I went from baseball to soccer. So we'll see what other sports are in my future.
So were you a soccer fan before then?
Not as much as I am a baseball fan, but yes, okay. I like soccer too. So I had to learn quite a few things, and it's funny because I had to learn all the kicks and things. And when I go to schools and I share that book with the kids, they're like, oh, those pictures are really cool. And they know all about that more too, because they play soccer. So it's been fun.
Hey, soccer is one of the biggest growing sports in the world, and one of the fastest growing in the United States. So you got on that one just right. Yeah. Well, and now I wonder what other sports are rolling around in your head, but people are going to have to check out your website or check back here for future interviews to get all that information. When you were first decided to write your first book, did you get any flack from publishers or anybody, with no offense? Why is a woman writing a sports book?
Nope, absolutely not. Because my message to kids at schools too is, because my daughters are in the book, and I'm like, you know what, girls and women love baseball too, so it's important to share that message with little girls too, that they can be anything they want to be, and I played softball in high school and growing up, and so I'm a huge baseball fan, and I think it's good that little girls, have that fun too when they go to a game. So no, luckily I never received that, which is good.
Sure. Now, how did you go from writing those type books to the book you just mentioned for adults? That's a pretty left turn, good left turn, but it's a left turn. How did you go about that? So,
like I said, Mom's Big Catch completely changed my life. We had Mom's Big Catch, Sadie's Big Steal. I'm a Secret Superhero was the third children's book, and then A Soccer Summer Dream with the Milwaukee Torrent, Milwaukee's outdoor professional soccer team. I teamed up with them. And then, so those were my children's books so far. And then I knew a man, Alex Hoffman, and he wanted to write a book, and he needed some help writing it. So we co-authored Our Last Day in Heaven. And that was my first experience with co-authoring a book and an adult book. So I absolutely loved that writing process and writing books for adults. And then that prompted some other co-authorship, some ghostwriting opportunities, and then manifesting your dreams. I put the book together. I collected 20 stories from 20 authors. And because I wanted to share my story of how I got published and how it changed my life and my course and my direction, but it wasn't long enough for a complete book. So each author has a chapter in the book and explains how they manifested their dream or how they made their dream come true, whether it was through the law of attraction, visualization, those kind of manifesting tools, or whether it was on the other side of a tragedy or trauma. So that has been just a wonderful book. People have really embraced it, and I've loved sharing my story because it gives people, well, all of the chapters gives people hope and encouragement and inspiration.
No, that's interesting. I'll be completely honest. I haven't read that book yet.
Okay.
I have your other books in my little shelf here.
I'll get you manifesting.
No, I wasn't asking for it. I will definitely order it.
I will get it.
I support independent authors and stuff. It's it's so important because the big time authors, they can get published all the time, but to have an independent like you coming out with these books, I think is just phenomenal. Some of your books, like you touch on the topic of bullying with children.
Yes.
Your last book, as you said, is going into more serious topics with adults. I think it's fantastic that you're not preaching all that, but the message is very clear throughout those books. I think it's very important. Is that something that you intended to do to really pound the message without really pounding the message, I guess?
Yeah. So my purpose, I believe, and what I find joy in when I go to schools and do author visits is I can teach, I teach them the writing process, the publishing, the writing, the editing, the illustrating process. Okay. We talk all about the tools for writing. Okay. So I teach that, but I have an underlying message in all my presentations about never giving up on your dreams, on patience, positivity, and perseverance. Thinking the power of positive thinking. Children, I think, need to understand that their thoughts are very important in choosing the direction their lives will go. And I think if they're taught that at a young age, and to show gratitude and, think about 3 things every day that they're grateful for. I think, having that mindset can help children just develop better, more positive attitudes in life and just have a better outlook on things. So yes, that's part of my goal and my purpose and mission.
So what's next for you? Do you have a book rolling around in your head that you can give a little scoop at all, or?
Well, I do have a children's book that I already, that's been written that I'm waiting to get illustrated. And right now I am in the middle of co-authoring another book with an author. Right now I help a lot of authors with their writing and get published. So I'm a writing coach, I'm an editor, I'm an author, and I work with a specific publisher. So right now I am just helping others get published and write their stories, but I'm always in the back of my mind working on another book, that is one of my books. So because that's where I find my joy and direction, and that's what makes me happy too. But it's nice to be able to help other authors who have a dream of, manifesting that they want to be an author and then helping them make that dream come true.
So when you go on Amazon or even your own website, you look and you see, I believe you got 5 books out now.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever go like, wow, this is so cool? Like 5 books, and 5 books is, to me, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, so manifesting your dreams, manifesting your dreams is actually the 6th one now. And what's interesting and what I found that really did blow me away was it made it in the Oprah magazine. And I believe, honestly, that all the authors in our manifesting book, we just manifested that. It made it as an article, and it's available not only at Amazon and Barnes and Noble, but now it's available at Walmart and Target online. And that's huge. I mean, You don't just get books. I'm not saying that from an ego perspective. I'm saying from a grateful and gratitude perspective that, like I tell kids and authors, you have to work hard. Okay. Nothing, anything that's important, you have to work hard for. So as I share with the kids and other authors, just because you write a book doesn't mean everyone's going to buy it or everyone's going to like it or everyone's going to hear about it. You have to do the work to get the book out there and make sure that it gets in people's hands and they hear your story. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And right now, I'm sure you're talking about, I have my website, marlamckenna.com, but it's actually old. I'm in the process, we're getting a new one. So my website designer and I have been working on a new one to show all my other services that I offer. So yeah, life has changed. It's good.
You are busy, and throughout all that, you're cheering for your Milwaukee Brewers.
Right.
Have you been out to many games yet this year?
Just a couple. Yeah, it's been fun.
Any predictions on how far they're going to go?
They're going to go all the way, don't you think?
Well, you know what? I hope so. And God forbid they face the White Sox in the World Series, but I hope they just crush that team. I like to see it.
That Field of Dreams game was pretty fun to watch, though.
I have to admit that was historic. But other than that, you won't hear me say many happy things. But it's a Cubs Sox. There's not a lot of people.
I'm sure. Yes, it's a Chicago thing. I'm sure. Yes.
So, what would you say? What has been the coolest thing, the coolest, most unexpected thing for you that came out of your whole experience?
Wow, there's a lot of different ways I could answer that question. I think, obviously, the cool things of meeting like the baseball players and, Fergie and Paul Molitor and Jeff Jenkins and working with Rick Springfield and Linda Blair. Those are just phenomenal dream come true moments. But being able to share my message with kids when I go to schools, I find a lot of, like I continue to say, joy in that. I mean, that I love going to schools and sharing my message with kids and teaching them the power of positive thinking. And I love being able to donate books to their library. I love to be able to give money back to Linda Blair to help dogs. So, I really just love, like I said, how, communicating with the children and helping dogs and just being able to give back.
It's wonderful. It truly is. Before I let you go, tell everybody where they can find you and any other information you want to throw out there.
Yeah, so I am available. All of my books are available at marlamckenna.com and anywhere books are sold. And I'm on pretty much, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So you can find me there just under Marla McKenna.
Yeah, I found her again. And
I was so glad to hear from you. Thank you.
Marla, I want to say this, your books are so cool because even though they're the majority of them so far are kids' books, maybe I'm just a big kid, but they're enjoyable as an adult to read them. And I really think the messages in there are just, unbelievable for the kids. Again, without hitting them in the face with the message, but getting the message across. And I think it's encouraging and uplifting for them. And then when you add in the fact that some of the proceeds go to the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation, I think you're just doing wonderful things. And I can't thank you enough for doing that and for your time today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it too. Thank you.
For the rest of the day, have a good day. Good luck to your Brewers. And, be sure to hit us up if when your next book comes out. We'd love to revisit you and do this again.
Okay. That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marla.